Welcome, everybody, to the Sunday edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. My name is Metal Mike, and today we are going to be talking about all the stuff coming out of week one of NFL training camp. Why? Because training camp started this week, and I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited. I am super excited because football is almost back. Now, you're probably thinking, Mike, what do you mean? Like, football's back. Like, we're in training camp. Like, what do you mean? Well, because we normally don't say football's back until we kick off the regular season. So, it's partially back because we're in training camp. And we got a lot of news coming out of it from week one. But before we get into it, please make sure you head over to the Huddle Hub Podcast over on social media, over on TikTok, Instagram, X, and on Epic Studios at the Huddle Hub Pod. You're going to hit that follow button. Over on the YouTube, you're going to hit that subscribe button. And, of course, over on the Twitch channel at the Huddle Hub Podcast, you're going to hit the follow button. All of our social media links are in the bio, in the Twitch bio. You're just going to click on the one you desire to go to and help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast through the rest of the 2026 preseason and beyond. Okay? Excuse me for 1 second. All right, so we are about, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. We are about 10 minutes late today because I overslept. I'll be honest about that. I overslept this morning. It's been a long week for me personally. Work has been crazy busy, and yeah, my mind has just been. So I slept in today. I did. I had to, and I feel a little bad about it, but at the same time, I'm still here. So. Yeah. Top 100. The NFL's top 100 being announced this week from number 50 to 41. Okay, let's run down it because this is the list, the part of the list that was announced this week. At number 50, free safety of the Los Angeles Chargers, Derwin James. 49, Joe Thuney, offensive guard of the Bears. Number 48, Josh Hines-Allen, defensive end of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 47, Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback of the Philadelphia Eagles. At number 46, George Kittle, tight end of the San Francisco 49ers. At 45, Zach Bond, linebacker of the Philadelphia Eagles. Joe Burrow, number 44, quarterback of the Bengals. At number 43, Chris Jones, defensive end of the Chiefs. Number 42, Garrett Bowles, offensive tackle of the Broncos. And at number 41, TJ Watt, linebacker of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is the list of guys that was announced this week. Now, as we know, the top 100 is being announced. They announce one player each day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. A player gets announced each day. So 10 players get announced throughout the week, two a day, and leading up to the top 10 from August 24th to September 4th. That's when the top 10 will be announced, but that is number 50 through 41 being announced this week. As far as player counts, the Ravens and Panthers both have 4 players on the list. The Rams, Broncos, Packers, Jaguars, Bears, 49ers, Eagles, Chiefs all have 3 players on the list. The Patriots, Cardinals, Saints, Bucks, Texans, Chargers all have 2 players on the list. The Commanders, Cowboys, Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Seahawks, and Raiders, and Lions, Steelers, and Browns, Falcons, Colts, Titans, Bengals all have 1 player on the list, and then the Giants and Vikings have 0. So the Giants and Vikings both yet to have a player on the list. Now, I expect the Vikings to have a player on this list. I have a feeling Justin Jefferson will be on this list. There's no way they leave Jay Jett off this list. No way. No way they leave him off this list. Now, as far as Giants players, I think the only Giants player I feel like we might see on this list is Brian Burns. That's it. That's it. Other than that, I don't know what other Giant player would end up on here because Malik Neighbors was injured. Jackson Dart dealt with the whole concussion protocol thing last year. And Cam Skattebo was out for most of the year. Well, all year, basically. So we will get player number 40 through 39 this week coming up. Let's get into the news of things coming out of the world of football because training camp week 1, a lot of news popping off inside training camp from week 1. First off, the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns making some noise this week. I don't have my pen. What the heck? Let me grab my pen real quick. All right, now I have my pen, and we're good to go. So the Cleveland Browns making some noise this week, starting off with signing cornerback Denzel Ward to a 2-year, $62.2 million extension. 52.3 of that is guaranteed, which makes him the highest paid cornerback in the league right now. And then they followed up with signing safety Grant Delpit to a 2-year extension, $16 million per year. $35 million is guaranteed on that deal. So they are taking care of their defensive backfield. I've always said this, the Cleveland Browns defense, they're ready. They're always good to go. Yes, they traded away Myles Garrett. But even with them having Jarrett Verse now, their defense is still ready. It's all about getting that offense going. And now this week, crazy enough, Shedeur Sanders had a better week in camp than Deshaun Watson. And there's a lot of talk about Deshaun Watson coming in and being the starter. A lot of talk about that happening. And I sit here saying, I think this is Shedeur's team. I do. I think this is Shedeur Sanders' team. This should be Shedeur Sanders' team. Deshaun Watson hasn't played a snap of football in almost 2 years. Deshaun Watson should be the backup quarterback for this football team. Shedeur Sanders should be the guy. And that's bottom line. I get it, you're having a quarterback battle, and Deshaun Watson's the guy you spent all that money on, but whose fault is that? Yours. You spent all that money. And it didn't pan out too well. I get it. It seems like you're trying to squeeze out any bit of that contract by having him go on the field and win you football games. But I guarantee if you ask the people of Cleveland who they would prefer as their quarterback, they would probably pick Shedeur. They would most likely pick Shedeur Sanders. And they'd tell you this trade Deshaun Watson. He becomes a free agent next year. You only eat, what, 30 mil? Maybe? Give or take? Less? More? And the production that he had last year, coming in and taking over this team after the Joe Flacco trade, pulling him, putting in Justin Gabriel. That failed. Or Dylan Gabriel, sorry. That failed. And now Shedeur comes in and kind of takes care of a little bit of business. So why would you not have him be your starter? And here's the day 3 training camp statistics for the quarterbacks in Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders, 21 of 26. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Deshaun Watson, 18 of 27. Through 27 passes, completed 18. Shedeur, 21 of 26. Watson had an interception. Dylan Gabriel, 11 of 17. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And then Green, I don't know who Green is. I have to look up who that is. 4 or 5, 0. Okay. Shedeur, yeah. Dylan Gabriel threw touchdown, but he also threw an interception. Shedeur didn't throw a touchdown, but he also didn't throw an interception. I just think it's a huge, huge mistake if they decide to go the Deshaun Watson route. Just because they're trying to salvage any bit of that mistake. It's time to move on. The Las Vegas Raiders announced that Kirk Cousins is going to be the starting quarterback for the 2026 NFL season. Now, there's different reports coming out. The source that I read said that Kirk Cousins was the starting quarterback of the 2026 season. He's going to start the year, right? Other reports are saying that it's just him taking first-team reps in camp. So, what is it? That's my question. 2 different sources, 2 viable different sources are giving 2 different things. So, I'm going to stick with Kirk Cousins being the starter for the 2026 NFL season because I think the Raiders need to start Kirk Cousins. Let Fernando Mendoza sit behind him and learn. That's bottom line. That's bottom line. That's my opinion. Let Fernando Mendoza sit behind Kirk Cousins and learn. Just my opinion. Wes Welker, he's a former wide receiver for a couple teams in the league. He became the Washington Commanders' new tight end coach. So he is the new tight end coach out in Washington. I don't know why wide receiver is becoming a tight end coach, but to reach its own. The Madden 99 club was announced for Madden 2027, the video game. These are the players that are in the 99 club, meaning their overall is not 99. Quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. Quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford. Wide receiver of the Cincinnati Bengals, Jamar Chase. Wide receiver of the Seattle Seahawks, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Tight end of the Arizona Cardinals, Trey McBride. And defensive end of the Los Angeles Rams, Myles Garrett. Now, there's a couple other players that probably should be on this list that you could probably argue should be on this list, like Puka Nacua. I believe he's a 98. I believe he got rated a 98. But I guess the point is you can't have a quarterback and a wide receiver on the same team rated 99. But here's the thing is, in Madden, you can work your players up to the overall. So Puka's starting a 98 or a 97. You don't have far to go with getting him to the 99 club. Okay? So if you're using the Rams, you're going to have a pretty dominant team in Madden. The Rams are going to be the most used team in online play this year. I see it. I see it now. As we know, Vita Vea, defensive tackle of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, requested a trade on Tuesday. His top landing spots, these are the top landing spots for Vita Vea. The Buffalo Bills, the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Los Angeles Chargers, the New York Giants, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, you're probably thinking, why Tampa Bay Buccaneers? He's asking for a trade. Well, because sometimes this is part of a tactic that agents and players use to get a new contract. Okay, so they request a trade, and then they end up staying because the contract that was offered to them is viable. They like it, and then they just sign. That's what it is. It's a tactic, and apparently that's what this is. But when you look at the teams that are on this list, it's like all these teams, they could use the help of a player like Vita Vea, and he would fit in any of these landing spots. There's not much you can really say where, he wouldn't fit here, he wouldn't fit there. No, he'd fit in all these landing spots, and there's probably like 2 other teams out there that he could fit in. So, yeah. Head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, as we know, got into a car accident on July 14th. He mentioned that he wanted to make it very clear that he took responsibility of the fact that it was his fault for the car accident. First things first, happy that everybody from the accident is okay. It's great to hear that everybody, if anybody who was injured is recovering, that everybody is okay, that everybody walked away from it. Minor injuries, but they walked away. They get to go home, which is great to hear. For Kyle Shanahan to just go and say, I want to make this clear. This accident was my fault. It's very humble. Like, normally people, when they get into an accident or cause an accident, they're pointing fingers. They don't want to take blame. They don't want to take responsibility. And Kyle Shanahan taking responsibility for the accident. He said, hey, you know what? I just want to make this clear. The person that I got in an accident with didn't hit me. I hit them. It's my fault. My bad decision making or whatever. So, very humble of him. It's good to hear that he's recovering from his injuries because he almost lost an eye. He had a couple broken bones. He got like 40 stitches in his face. Like, that's rough. That is rough. So glad to hear that everybody's okay. I mean, who cares whose fault it is, really? But, for Kyle Shanahan to come out and say, look, like, don't harass this person. Don't try and go and talk to this person. Let that person go. This accident was my fault. I hope you guys know what I'm trying to say. So, Cooper Rush, the free agent quarterback, has signed with the Atlanta Falcons after Tua Tagovailoa missed practice with back pains, and Michael Penix Jr. Was taken out of team drills because of his injury from last year. He's going to seek further evaluation and further. He's going to recover more, but it looks like that Tua Tagovailoa is going to be returning to practice by next week, as far as we're hearing. And the Atlanta Falcons, I think he's going to be the starter for the Atlanta Falcons. Tua is going to start the season for the Atlanta Falcons. So he's going to be the one taking the most reps in practice, and I believe he will be the starter. Running back of the Detroit Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Bijan Robinson of the Atlanta Falcons are both holding in after seeking new contracts. Yesterday, the Atlanta Falcons gave their offensive guard, Matthew Bergeron, a 4-year, $96 million extension. Okay. And here, supposedly, Bijan Robinson and Matthew Bergeron were the 2 players that needed extensions yet. So now the Falcons can focus on Bijan Robinson, and I'm sure by probably tomorrow, Monday, Bijan will end up having the extension. And as far as the Detroit Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs is holding in. So I'm guessing they are not going to play until they get their extension. So Taysom Hill. If you guys don't know who Taysom Hill is, he's the guy that does pretty much everything for the New Orleans Saints. will not be returning to the New Orleans Saints this season. So it looks like that he is going to be seeking another team, free agency, or maybe another venture. Who knows? Just was announced that he is not going to be returning to the New Orleans Saints. But the New Orleans Saints made a move this week. Chris Olave, the wide receiver, signed a 4-year, $120 million extension. $90 million of that is guaranteed. This is a huge deal for the Saints as they're trying to get themselves back to a level of competitiveness. The Saints have been able to kind of do that the past couple of years, like work their way up to that level. And Chris Olave is a piece of that puzzle. So this is a huge deal for the New Orleans Saints and Chris Olave. Tight end of the Green Bay Packers, Tucker Kraft, he was activated off the physically unable to perform list, the PUP list. So he is good to go. Okay. I want to circle two parts of my thing here because I want to kind of talk about something here real quick. And I've had so many notes coming out of training camp this week that I know if I don't circle these two, I'll get lost. So, former Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott, he's been spending time at the Los Angeles Rams camp, saying that he wanted to just see how they operate. Okay, now, there's not too many speculations of why he's there. Not a lot of people are trying to take a guess on why he's there and doing this. I kind of want to take mine. Okay. My guess is it's Super Bowl or bust for the Rams this year. Basically, if Sean McVay doesn't win a Super Bowl, he's gone. If Sean McVay wins a Super Bowl, he's gone. I feel like he's going to retire. There was the chatter about it the past couple years about him possibly retiring. I think this is the final year for Sean McVay, and he's just not saying anything. The team's not saying anything. They don't want to make it a big deal. Because think of this. You have Matthew Stafford, right? Our best quarterback in the league right now. He won league MVP. You have Myles Garrett, best defensive player right now. He won Defensive Player of the Year, broke the single-season sack record. You have Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum. Like, this team is stacked, right? So it's Super Bowl or bust for this team. Win or lose, I think this is it for Sean McVay. And I think this is going to be Sean McDermott's team next year. But he's not going to have Matthew Stafford. He may not have Devontae Adams. If Aaron Donald does return this year, this will be the only year he returns, which it looks like it's on the up and up because Sean McVay has said that if there's any type of update about an Aaron Darnold return, that is that the arrow is trending up. So it's Super Bowl or bust for the Rams this year. And Sean McVay, this is going to be his final season. I think so. And I think Sean McDermott will end up taking over the team. That's just my opinion, my guess. We'll see. Rookie wide receiver Chris Brazzles of the Carolina Panthers. He is on season-ending reserve. Wasn't sure what the injury was. He did get injured during training camp, but I didn't see any injury disclosed. So yeah, offensive lineman Andrews Pete ended up retiring after 11 seasons. He was with the Saints from 2015 to 2023, the Raiders in 2024, Steelers in 2025. Played 132 games, started 106, and he was to 3 Pro Bowls. So good luck and congratulations on the retirement, Andrew Peace. Enjoy your retirement. And yeah. Cam Scatterby, running back of the New York Giants, commented on his viral backflip video. He said that he knows he does dumb stuff sometimes Coach Harbaugh talked to him about everything and that he will probably not do it again. Now, I want to talk about this. This is one thing I want to talk about real quick. He commented on this viral video that he did a backflip at Fanatics Fest off the stage, right? And Harbaugh talked to him about it. John Harbaugh talked to him about it and brought it to his attention. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're recovering from an injury to come back and play football. Why are you doing backflips off of a stage? Okay? But Harbaugh at the same time was like, oh, it's cool. He did it. You know. And then he goes on to say, I probably won't do it anymore. Probably. So you're telling me there's no guarantee you're not going to do this again? No guarantee you're not going to do this again. Come on. I wouldn't trust this kid. And when it comes time to contract time, no. He's going to cost you money. He admitted to doing stupid stuff. And he's sitting there saying, I'm probably not going to do it again, but it's not a guarantee that I'm not going to do it again. How can you trust somebody like that? And they expect you to pay them millions. If I'm the New York Giants, Cam Scadaboo's gone. He's gone. If I'm the owner, if I'm the GM, he is gone. That's it. I don't care. I'll run Tyrone Tracy for the year. That'd be me. That would be me. All-Pro wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins became a free agent this year. A lot of wondering where he's going to end up. He did want to play another year, but it looks like he's going to be dabbling into coaching now. He is becoming the assistant wide receivers coach for Georgia Tech. So let's see if Georgia Tech's wide receiver room gets a little better looking. DeAndre Hopkins becoming the wide receiver coach out there, or assistant wide receiver coach. Linebacker Devin White has signed with the Detroit Lions, and it's being reported that C.J. Gardner-Johnson, defensive back of the Buffalo Bills, he was carted off the field yesterday, being evaluated on his calf during Saturday's practice. No further news came from this yet, so we don't know the full-on condition of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but I'm sure once we hear something, we will talk about it. And CBS analyst Tony Romo, as we talked about, he got arrested on DUI during the week. He is being suspended. He is on a leave right now, and that J.J. Watt will be taking his place for now with Jim Nantz on the Sunday afternoon broadcast on CBS. So for now, until they get things squared away with Tony Romo, I'll say this right now. I said the other day that I didn't want to talk about this long on the show because you know what? He's a human being. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to mess up. He's going to make bad decisions as well. This is a bad decision on Tony Romo's part. Yeah, I mean, he probably could have, I just don't want to give my opinion. So I don't want to we're going to just put it at the point, leave it at the point he's suspended for the time being, and J.J. Watt is going to cover his part until they make the decision to bring him back. So that's that. The San Francisco 49ers have signed back wide receiver Deebo Samuels to a 1-year, $7 million deal. This coming off the news that wide receiver Ricky Pearsall was dealing with some setbacks with his knee injury. And it was announced yesterday that Ricky Pearsall will now have season-ending knee surgery. he will be out for the 2026 season and that he will be ready for the 2027 NFL season. So that's a rough hit for the 49ers, but at the same time, they got Deebo Samuels back. And I've been saying it all off season. I said Deebo needs to go back to San Francisco. One of two landing spots, I said, San Francisco or Las Vegas. He's back in San Francisco. So I think the 49ers are going to be just fine with the fact of Deebo being back. And now that they have Mike Evans, I think they're going to be quite all right. So this is a hit. This is a hit, but I don't think it's as huge of a hit as people think it is. So, but that's it for the news, guys. We're going to take about a 30 to 45 second break. We'll be right back here on the Huddle Up Podcast. And then we are going to talk about position battles in training camp. There's a couple of them happening, and we are going to talk about them right after this. I don't know why I always say 45 seconds. I know they're much longer breaks. But I take the time to check some things, scroll across the internet to see if there's any news that comes out that we could talk about quick, any breaking news, anything that comes out. Plus, I have to check other things. So, you know. All right, guys, so we're going to get into the position battles happening in training camp right now, the big ones that are being focused on. Before we do, make sure after the show you head over to the Huddle Podcast after the show Hit the follow button on the TikTok, Instagram, XN on Epic Studios. Hit the subscribe button over on the YouTube and, of course, over on the Twitch channel. Make sure you help us build the Huddle podcast through the rest of 2026 NFL preseason and beyond. Okay. So position battles are happening in training camp right now. And here are the teams with position battles. The Atlanta Falcons starting off the quarterback battle between Tua Tagovailoa and Michael Penix. I think, honestly, this is Tua Tagovailoa's team to start the 2026 NFL season. This is Tua's basically last chance to prove that he could be a starting quarterback. Cleveland Browns quarterback battle, Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. I think this is Shedeur Sanders' team. It should be Shedeur Sanders' team. And just get through the season so you can let Deshaun Watson walk and have another team spend the money on him, because Cleveland knows they made that mistake. The Las Vegas Raiders quarterback battle between Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza. As we said earlier, Kirk Cousins was announced that he's taking the first team reps. He's the starter. I think Kirk Cousins should be the starter regardless. Minnesota Vikings, Kyler Murray again, and J.J. McCarthy for the quarterback position. I think Kyler Murray will start the 2026 season. I think J.J. McCarthy ends up being possibly traded by the trade deadline. And that's just me. I think Kyler Murray is going to prove that this is his team, and he's going to be the quarterback for the foreseeable future. The Chicago Bears, they are having a battle at the left tackle position between three players: Braxton Jones, Jedrick Wills, and Theo Benedict. The Dallas Cowboys also the left tackle position: Tyler Guyton and Nate Thomas. The Detroit Lions right tackle and left guard. At right tackle, Blake Miller and Larry Borum are battling for that position. And then at left guard, Christian Mahogany, Ben Barch, Juice Scruggs, and Miles Frazier are all battling for that position. The New England Patriots, they're having backup wide receiver competition because A.J. Brown's WR1, right? They have their WR2s. They have backups. They're having a backup wide receiver position battle. Demario Douglas, Kyle Williams, Efton Chisholm, and Kayshon Boutte. Now, if I was Kayshon Boutte, I'd be asking for a trade. You were the guy they had picked to be the guy for the future of this team. You went to the Super Bowl last year, and you were one of the guys to lead the way. And now they're benching you? I'd be requesting a trade. They overlooked him so bad, and wow. Opinions. Just saying. The New York Giants are having a wide receiver 2 position battle opposite sides of Malik Neighbors between Darius Slayton, Darnell Mooney, Odell Beckham Jr., Calvin Austin III, Malachi Fields, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Braxton Berrios. Okay. The Philadelphia Eagles are having edge rusher position battle opposite of Jonathan Grenard between Jalix Hunt and Nolan Smith. The Pittsburgh Steelers are having a running back 1 battle between Jaylen Warren and Rico Dowdle, and the Seattle Seahawks right guard battle between Anthony Bradford and Bo Stevens. So a couple of position battles happening out for some of these teams. And we'll have to see who ends up getting it, who ends up getting the position. So we'll have to see what happens coming out of training camp. So last thing we're going to talk about before we get out of here is possible preseason trades. Okay, because there's a couple players that I think are going to be traded before we kick off the 2026 NFL season. Okay? And now, I'm going to say this right now. How I did this was I picked these players, and then I connected at least 2 teams to them. 2 teams that I think they could go to. Okay? Number 1, quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, Anthony Richardson. Yes, I think he's going to be traded before the kickoff of the 2026 NFL season. And the 2 teams that I think he will be traded to, the Minnesota Vikings because Kevin O'Connell, it's being reported that Kevin O'Connell, sorry. It's being reported that Kevin O'Connell is apparently the only head coach in this league that believes that Anthony Richardson can still be a starter in this league. And if things don't work out with Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy, why not have the option of Anthony Richardson, the quarterback that you believe in a lot? Arizona Cardinals is the other team. I don't think it'd be a bad idea for the Cardinals to go out and trade for Anthony Richardson to have that backup plan, because let's face it, Jacoby Brissett, yeah, you just gave him that deal that he's been asking for, but if he don't pan out and you can't trust your rookie in Carson Beck, there sits Anthony Richardson, a guy who has some experience. He's been in the league for, this is what, year 3 now? Why not? So, Anthony Richardson to the Minnesota Vikings or Arizona Cardinals. Keon Coleman, wide receiver of the Buffalo Bills, 2 landing spots I think he will be traded to is the San Francisco 49ers or the New York Jets. Okay. Now, I made this list before Deebo Samuels got traded, signed. Deebo Samuel signed back with the San Francisco 49ers. I made this list. But I still think Keon Coleman could be a target for the 49ers to go after because of Ricky Pearsall. So I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to keep the San Francisco 49ers on that list. And the New York Jets, we know they can use all the help they can get. So, yeah. Edge rusher of the New York Giants, Kayvon Thibodeau. I think he's going to be traded before the kickoff of the 2026 NFL season. And it's either going to be to the Cincinnati Bengals or the Philadelphia Eagles. Cincinnati Bengals because B.J. Hill, their biggest defensive lineman right now, is on the PUP list. And who knows what his future looks like for the season. And, of course, for the Philadelphia Eagles, yes, the position battling for the edge rusher position, became a little more open because Jonathan Grenard is on the injured list right now. And who knows what his extension is. So Kayvon Thibodeau to Philadelphia, maybe? Who knows? And then last but not least, safety of the Arizona Cardinals, Budda Baker. I think he ends up in one of 2 places, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Carolina Panthers. So those are the players that I think will possibly be traded before the kickoff of the 2026 NFL season. Okay. And that's it, guys. We got everything in today. We got everything in. So before we get out of here, one more time, please make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Hub Podcast over on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, X, and on Epic Studios at the Huddle Hub Pod. You're going to hit that follow button. Over on the YouTube, you're going to hit the subscribe button. And, of course, over on Twitch at the Huddle Hub Podcast, hit that follow button. All of our social media links are in the Twitch bio. You just go and click on the one you desire to go to, because I know not everybody uses every social media. And help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast through the rest of the 2026 NFL preseason and beyond. If you want to follow me on social media, Metal Mike 714 is where you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, X, and on YouTube. I don't do much personally on social media right now. I am trying to think about what content I want to post on the YouTube channel and get the YouTube channel going. I've been thinking about this for months now, which really stinks. You'd think by now I would have had something together, and I don't. Because my work schedule has been hectic. Things with work have been hectic. And off air here at home, I'll admit it. It's been hectic. Things, personal life, right? Okay. So I think what I'm going to do here in the next week is really sit down and think about what content I want to post on the YouTube channel. And I'm thinking maybe just general video game content. Just games that I play. And just not have just one thing that I stick to, right? Why not? I don't know. I'll think of stuff more and really try and put something together here. So figure it out. But that's it, guys. I'm going to get out of here. It's Sunday. It's my first day off on the weekend, and I'm ready to just chill out. So with that being said, the Tuesday edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with myself and John as we preview the MAC and Mountain West conferences, as we are on the college football conference previews tour right now. We are previewing every college football conference until we get to the 2026 season. And this week, we are going to be previewing the MAC and Mountain West. So come join us 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the Huddle podcast for the college football preview show. With that being said, be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys. And we'll see you on the Tuesday edition of the Huddle podcast. Until then, deuces.